Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today on this channel I played and live streamed some Battlefield 2042 Update 2.1, and I thought I'd give my opinions on it. I haven't played Battlefield 2042 all year, pretty much. I might have played a little bit in January, but I don't know. I've really been avoiding the damn thing. 2042 was not my favorite, and worse than that, it wasn't a game I could recommend to any of my non-Battlefield playing friends or my Battlefield fan friends. So I never had a group to play it with, and I never really wanted to get them to play it, so it wasn't a game I was playing or planning on covering for much longer. But then I saw that Update 2.1 was coming out, and I thought, well, my heart can't get much more broken, so we might as well go ahead and see what all the fuss is about. And the big thing that jumped out to me in the patch notes was that they had fixed the aim assist issues in the game and made it more consistent and good feeling, and I'm just gonna confirm this real fast. The game on my Xbox Series X runs a lot better, and it feels a lot better to aim and shoot. I found myself being able to consistently win gunfights even though I was rusty with how the game handled. I feel like if I gave myself 5-6 days on this game, I could be kind of a god on the analog sticks, and I'm okay with that. I'm just really not okay with playing for 5 or 6 more days. Look, the problem with Battlefield 2042 really hasn't changed. Like how the slow rollout of content and updates really is punctuated by the fact that EA's already been talking about the next Battlefield game, which weighs on the community kind of heavily because EA has this weird habit of killing games right when they get good. So while I think a lot of people are waiting for 2042 to get good, an equal amount of people remember what every other DICE EA game looks like just as it gets good. Usually dead like a couple weeks later. On top of that, the small amount of launch content and, of course, like I said, a slow rollout of post-launch content means that it just feels like a small game. From the amount of weapons to maps to gadgets, it just feels small and, I don't know, not to the premium standards of something like Battlefield 4, even what 3 felt like back in 2011? Jeez, that was a long time ago. Now, like I said, the game runs a ton better, but I would hope so after over 9 months of being on the market. I would hope that they would optimize it. But unfortunately, the game still, while running a lot better, feels unpolished and unfinished. From watching enemy players glitch around at a distance to watching textures and surfaces and entire objects completely spawn and despawn in as I aim down sight and on ADS, just really makes the game feel cheap and unfinished. In a lot of ways, this new update feels better to control and play, and also in a lot of ways, it still feels like a beta test. Worse than that, it doesn't feel like Battlefield when it comes to the main gameplay loop, and that's what really is leading me to make this video, because I didn't want to make a video just saying, hey, the aiming and shooting feels better, and it does seem to run better, at least in 64-player Conquest, which is pretty much all I played. It's actually all I played. You know, I could have just said that, but it doesn't feel like Battlefield. And as I was streaming it, I was trying to figure out what this game's selling point is. But it's not a Battlefield. It's like some deranged ghost of Battlefield wandering around collecting aspects from other shooter franchises while acting like it understands what made Battlefield great, but unfortunately for EA, unfortunately for DICE and the marketing material of this game, Battlefield wasn't just large maps and explosions, and Battlefield used to be able to provide a feeling of teammate cohesion within a tactical sandbox, and 2042 drops the ball there pretty seriously. Like, from an outside perspective, this looks like Battlefield, but when you're in it, it feels like generic FPS game. Have the specialist hero gadget system from these games, have the tac sprint, ADS reload, and the ability to slide cancel from these other games. And here you go, it's like Battlefield 4 had a weird baby with Warzone and Apex and other popular shooters, like Rainbow Six. I actually had fun streaming the game today. I actually made my own fun as well as some fun naturally occurred, and yeah, it doesn't play like unplayable dog shit, it just isn't Battlefield. Like, this was the point I made at the beginning of this year and the end of last year. Vanguard isn't special. Halo Infinite botched a lot of what it is, but they both feel like games in their respected franchises. I get Halo vibes from Infinite, I get COD vibes from Vanguard. They both do things I fundamentally disagree with, but as a fan of both of those franchises, I'm getting that experience. People get mad when Call of Duty's same shit, different hat, or when Halo is not classic, but in my opinion, the franchise has been on and going on for so long that I don't expect them to feel dramatically distinct at this point, or go back and cater towards mid-2000s nostalgia. Infinite's more classic than Halo 5, and Modern Warfare 2019 was a lot like the modern interpretation of what COD 4 wanted to be on an aesthetic and gunplay level. But they're Halo, they're COD. Battlefield 2042 nails the spawning on your squad mates, large maps, vehicles, things crashing into each other, chaos, but it doesn't grab any of that cohesion that I loved from previous Battlefield games. The lack of an actual proper squad system and class limitations and dedication just makes the game feel aimless and messy, again, like a really derivative hodgepodge of other AAA shooters. Battlefield 2042 doesn't have its own identity, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, even Vanguard, in some ways, maintains an identity. It's COD, and you can play it for a COD experience. 2042, you can play for a Battlefield experience, but I don't believe you're gonna get one, I'm sorry. What I liked about Battlefield 1, 5, Hardline, 4, and 3 couldn't be boiled down to large maps and explosions. It was more than that. There was a vibe that Battlefield games had that kept them together. And like I said back when 2042 first came out, that my issue with the Battlefield franchise is you never really know what you're going to get. They're constantly experimenting with the core components of the formula. Whereas in other franchises, everything seems to change except the formula. Battlefield likes to change the formula and sometimes doesn't fix any of the issues while changing the formula, but either way, the one thing I never thought Battlefield would change is an actual proper class system, but they did, and that's a permanent stain on this game's record. The fact that the only place you can go for an actual class-based experience like Battlefield's supposed to be is Portal, which is sad because those are just small, bite-sized elements of other Battlefield games, but with less quality. And that's my issue with 2042. I can ignore these core issues for a little bit, but after a while, after several matches, after several hours, it really starts to sink in how generic and aimless the game feels. And Portal just doesn't cut it. They're little silhouettes of old games that were made, in my opinion, with love and quality, so it's kind of hard to play small, bastardized, repetitive versions of them, so I don't play Portal. And I don't really want to play the main game either. 2042 doesn't provide something I can't get somewhere else. The closest it gets is the Crysis-style on-the-fly weapon customization, but currently at the time that I was streaming, it kept breaking my loadouts, which is a known issue right now where I just can't save attachments to any guns, so I had to keep reapplying attachments every match, adding further to the unpolished, unfinished feeling of the game. And I don't really need to be bringing up other shooters like Halo or Call of Duty because this game fails all on its own. It doesn't really need to be compared. If you're gonna compare it to something, compare it to how you felt playing Battlefield 3 for the first time, or Battlefield 4. Compare it to Battlefield 1. Compare it to Battlefield 5 even. Whatever your feelings on those games are, they're Battlefield games. They have that cohesion, the tropes, the tricks, the trade. It's not just large maps and chaos, it's something a little bit more special, something a little bit more put in a box, something a little bit more limiting yet freeing, something that requires dedication and commitment, but also teamwork and camaraderie. That's completely missing in 2042. Now, obviously, if you play this game with friends, you can have some fun. The gunplay doesn't suck as much anymore, and it does run a little bit better, but with how little content we're getting for 2042, and with EA already talking about the next Battlefield game, I don't see the reason for getting hyped on this game, for defending it, for getting excited for it, for putting eggs in this basket. I don't understand it. This game is a derivative sinking ship. And while it's nice to see a quality update, a little too little and a little too late. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Is update 2.1 saving the game for you? Did you try it out and like it? Did you try it out and not like it? Let me know down below, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.